Namaste, welcome to UPSC Senpai. Today we'll be talking about the Great Indian Bustards. Again, a series on species in news. So let us start without any further delay. So the Great Indian Bustards are native to Indian subcontinent. They are predominantly found in the states of Rajasthan, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, and in certain parts of Pakistan. Though they are native to India, there is a certain population that is present in Pakistan also. Particularly in Rajasthan, it is found in the Desert National Park. It is the state bird of Rajasthan, but as of now, the population is mostly confined to the states of Rajasthan and Gujarat. But there are other parts of the country, particularly in Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka, where a small portion of the population of these birds have been spotted. But most of the population is confined to the states of Rajasthan and Gujarat. Particularly in Rajasthan, it is predominantly in Desert National Park. So, what kind of birds are these? So, the great Indian bustards are omnivores. They prey on various arthropods, worms, small mammals, and small reptiles. They are a grassland species. Grasslands are their habitat. As I said, we find grasslands in both those states, Rajasthan and Gujarat. That is why their natural habitat is in those states, particularly in those regions, as I mentioned, that we'll look in the coming up slides. But what is the issue here? As I said, one of the banes of uh, modern society as such is we are forced to exploit natural habitats of these animals for our own needs. I'm not saying whether it is right or wrong, it's not about that, but over a period of time we are being faced with a situation where we have to use these animals habitats for our own needs. That is the case here. So these birds are, as I said, grassland species. They thrive in uh, grass areas, grassland habitat. So the policy has been that the states where these birds call their home have long been viewing their habitat as wasteland, and there has been instances for these habitats exploited for agriculture, industry, and irrigation projects. As I said, the moment agriculture, industry, or urbanization or any large scale construction comes into an area, the ecology gets disturbed and it gets fragmented. As a result, the natural habitat gets disrupted. The cycle gets disrupted. So that is what is happening in this case also. But that's not the only reason why we are seeing a decreasing number or a decline in number of great Indian bustards in India. What are the threats that these birds have been facing? One, human development. But that is not the primary reason. The one of the biggest reasons is death by collision with infrastructure, particularly power lines and wind turbines. For whatever reason, the geographical location that these animals call their home are in a very good area for installation of wind turbines, because as a result, because they are suitable for wind farming, those regions are good for wind farming. A lot of wind turbines have been installed in those areas. If you have ever seen how a wind farm looks, rows upon rows upon rows upon of rows of wind turbines that are placed in strategic places, and they are connected through power lines to a substation, and that power gets distributed to the rest of the grid. So what is happening here, as a result of this, as a result of these wind turbines and power lines, the birds they cannot see those lines, they cannot see those wind turbines or the blades of those wind turbines properly, and we are seeing collision and as a result, death. The second is depletion of habitat, that is grasslands, and the third or the fourth, if you go by the numbers, is dogs, stray dogs that get into their habitat and hunt them. So these are the four primary threats that these birds are facing in our country. The predominant being the collision with infrastructure, particularly power lines and wind turbines. So what is the conservation status of this bird? IUCN Red List. It is critically endangered species with less than 150 birds left in the wild. CITES Index, Appendix 1. In India, Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, Schedule 1, again given the priority. As per studies conducted by the Wildlife Institution of India, there are around 150 Great Indian bustards left across the country, which include about 128 birds in Rajasthan and less than 10 birds each in the states of Gujarat, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, and Karnataka. And one of the males that recently we have in Gujarat had flown over the border into Pakistan. That is one thing that happened in the recent times. So that also tends to happen. So the situation is very grim. Whether that is the reality, ground reality. Over a period of time, we have seen those numbers decline rapidly. One of the main reasons, as I said, is the collisions. So look at the two habitats that we have here: one in Rajasthan, one in Gujarat. So the areas that you are seeing are the two areas that these birds call as home. So the highlighted areas in skin hue color are where the wind farms exist, and there is a large scale power lines that run across these territories, and these birds are colliding with those power lines. You can see how fragmented the entire ecosystem is. In the case of Rajasthan, the habitat is virtually split into two parts because of these power lines and these wind farms. In the case of Gujarat, it is far even worse. Their entire ecosystem is fragmented into small islands. So, if a bird wants to travel from one part of their habitat into the other part of the habitat, there is 100% chance that they'll come across a power line and a collision might takes place, and that is what is happening. So, what is the solution for this issue? What is the solution? So, one of the solutions that our people, our government, or our society, conservationists, or whoever civil society had come up with is installation of reflectors such as these. These reflectors are supposed to be placed on the power lines themselves, and they would flicker, and they would emit flickering of light when sunlight hits them during the day, and in the during the night also they were supposed to work in some sort of the other way, and this would alert the bird to the existence of a power line in its path, and the hope was that it would uh, s- go around it, or go about it, or go above it or below it, and avoid it altogether. But again, this is a solution to a problem that seems to be working to an extent, but we don't know whether it has been implemented in the large scale or not. So what is the species recovery program? When we talk about species in news, you will be hearing a lot about the concept called species recovery program. So species recovery program, yes, we'll come back to Great Indian Bustard, but you have to understand a little bit of about this. So species recovery program, uh, that we'll discuss, but as far as how are we going to solve this Great Indian Bustard issue? So as of now, it is kept under the species recovery program under the integrated development of wildlife habitats. Again, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. We have national bustard recovery plans. Government and the central nodal agencies and Wildlife Institute of India have also established a conservation breeding facility in Desert National Park at Jaisalmer. They started it in 2019. The objective of the program was to build up a captive population of Great Indian bustards, and again then release those birds into wild population, thus increasing the wildlife population of these birds. Remember, what we are trying to do is what we have successfully done with vultures in India. Vultures in India is a success story. We'll learn about vultures in coming up videos, but if we haven't already did so, that is what we are trying to do here. We are trying to develop a captive breeding program. Over a period of time, we'd increase their population in the captive breeding facilities. We'll have a sustainable population in with us and then we'll slowly start reintroducing those animals into the wildlife again. Captive population over a period of time, population goes up, then we'll release them into the wild, thus increasing the wildlife population. It becomes self-sustaining over a period of time, though we have to keep on supplementing it for a long period of time. But if we keep up these efforts, we'll eventually arrive at a point where the population is thriving and the population becomes self-sustaining, and the government doesn't need not to involve anymore in their breeding program. So what are the challenges that we are facing right now? Currently the problem is that the satellite conservation breeding facility with incubator, hatches, chick rearing and housing for captive birds has been set up at Sam Jaisalmer, Rajasthan, again being managed by Wildlife Institute of Indian Scientists. Again, forest department also is giving technical assistance along with international fund for uh, conservation and from Abu Dhabi. As of now, 16 chicks have been artificially hatched from eggs that are being reared presently in this facility to be released in Jaisalmer, Rajasthan. Again, this is a very much recovery program that is in progress. As of now, the population is dangerously low. Until unless this breeding program succeeds, this population will be in critically endangered mode. So that is Great Indian Bustard. Hope this video has been helpful. Thank you. Namaste.